Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on September 6, 2023 at approximately 4:20 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life, and the philosophies of life I talk about are the precise philosophies I guide my life by. So this is not a question of here's a couple of tools that may work. These are tools that have been tried time and again by myself and literally thousands of other people with varying degrees of success, depending on the individual person's effort. Now we have in the house right off the bat, we have Shadow and Son. And Ferret, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You are in with the silver today. And where is Shadow? Here we are. This is the link to Shadow's live stream. So absolutely give him a listen. If you like what he says, absolutely give him a thumbs up. And then subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. Now you'll notice I remembered to close the door behind me. That one's closed. The panel's shut down properly. We're actually in decent shape today. Now the reality is, when I look at my schedule here, I've been up and on the go this morning since what is today? Let's take a peek. Oh, there we are. No, that's the 5th, the 6th. I think I forgot to write it down where I should have. Let me see here. There we are. Okay. So let's take a look at this and get it transferred over. The whole issue, what I'm looking at today, is real simple. Let's get people moving in the right direction. And we start... I'll get to a whole pile of things in a second, but we're going to start with the purpose of why get your life in order. Let's see now, the 6th. We were asleep from midnight until 2, and then we went back to bed at 4, and we're up at 6. So as you can tell, I sleep a whole lot. I haven't actually even slowed down today much. Yeah, we have here Chad Smith is in with the bronze. Okay, and Chad, where are you here? This is the link to Chad's live stream. And as I've mentioned before, guys, the reality of it is these people that have a live stream, you guys are supporting me by coming in on my during my stream. The least I can do, I do my best to pop in on your guys' streams. Unfortunately, my schedule is absolutely nuts a lot of the time. But this is Chad's stream. Drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, come right out. Come right out and give him a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of it. Now, Steve, you are in with honorable mention. Well done. Oh, Chad's just informing us here he has some archives, but he hardly uploads anymore. Not a problem, Ferret. Thanks so much for dropping in. I do appreciate it. I figured I would get things organized last couple of days. I've been taking a lot of time to really organize my next month or so, which means where it comes to the live stream, I've got the next month laid out, but it's adjustable. I'm glad you enjoyed it there, Shadow. I'm glad it did work out well. That said, I'll get to that in half a second. I do have my next month planned out, but because of the way that I've organized it, if you guys come up with a topic you'd like to discuss, let me know. I can slip it in without any real functional problem at all. Okay. Some of the topics I've laid out will simply be adjusted by a week or whatever, depending on when they come in. Okay. But for the moment, things are working quite nicely. Now, what I've got laid out. Let's get that out of the way so I can actually see what I've got laid out here. Okay, today is Wednesday. So, Wednesday, we discuss self-improvement in a number of venues. Okay. Let's face it, Thursday I just don't come on air because that's my gaming night. Okay. Then on Friday, we discuss the paranormal. Now, some of what I'm calling paranormal is, in all fairness, what I personally see as normal. But it does show how it is intended to give people a handle on how to change their life, how to implement the paranormal world into their own. Then on Saturday, we go back, to more self-improvement, more of that side of the world, and see how we can bring this world back into balance and working together, turn the direction it's going. Change it to a much more prosperous future for virtually everybody. Okay. Sunday, as you know, is staying an open topic. Mondays, we are going to look at alien races, alien technologies, theoretical alien agendas, this sort of thing. Okay. And then on Tuesday, from here on out, we are going to be discussing gaming, either characters that have been built, that have been written into stories. And yes, this does include, if you guys come up with an idea for a character personality that you would like to see included in some of the stories I'm working on, absolutely drop me a line or bring it up in the chat room and we'll see what we can do with it. Okay. I have literally based characters in the books on gaming characters that people have made, on actual people I've run into. Okay. And, and of course, with the people I've actually run into, I have actually literally asked them if it's okay if I put them in there. That's just the reality behind the way I work. So that's the way it's set up. And like I said, I've got it planned out here. Let's see. That's 2 days a week on the self-improvement because I figured I got to broaden my spectrum. Okay. I'm sitting right now at 539 subscribers, which is fantastic in my eyes. I figure I got over 5. I was ahead of the game. But now it's time to make things grow. Okay. And yes, I am looking at a couple of possibilities for various different venues there. But this way, because my breadth of interest is, to say the least, a little extreme, I figured I might just well expand a little. Now, I am happy to say I've talked to you guys about having to get stuff and paperwork done for Work BC and for Community Futures, all in order to get the publishing company up and running properly. Well, the good news is I found all the paperwork I had to get done, completed it as best I could. It's all been submitted on Friday. On Friday, I've got a phone meeting with the people from Work BC to see how well that went. On the 12th, which is on Tuesday, sometime that week, I find out whether they pick me up. If they did, then I'm good to go. Okay. Now, with that in mind, what do we got? Oh, fantastic. Oh, that is a fan. I do appreciate that, Shadow. I'm going to have to talk to you about that one because there is a point where that's going to become really kind of necessary. Interdimensional, little bit of a hiccup, but that's okay. I'll explain that later. But given that the Yldrbacian Chronicles run from the beginning of time until the fall of mankind and the return to paradise, where all of it comes back together, I'm having a lot of fun tying off the return to paradise right now. It's coming along really nicely, but getting a little on the hectic side. Okay, but with that in mind, see, with gaming characters that are built, I've literally said they are based on these people. Okay, I've only got one that is definitively using a professional name. And in her case, I've got a letter of authorization permitting me to use her professional name in the story. Okay, fortunately, I got to get that out of her before she disappeared out of the area. Okay, now we will start off with, where is, not that. I love how organized I am on occasion. Not. By the way, when you get too much on the go, it can really scramble organizational capacity. So we take that, put that there. And what do we got? Oh, well, that works out well. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. There's a character in the like a member of the wolf pack that he literally will look at his normal if you will line is it's a good day for them to die. Okay. How you doing, football grind? Glad you could join us. So I mean, Blade is, to say the least, a little on the volatile side. But the entire wolf pack, I think on the whole, you'd have to class them as neutral good because they're all intent on helping people. But as it says on the one shirt I've got, the chaotic good moniker, good intentions, questionable methods. I mean, all in all, that's where the Yldrbacian Chronicles come in. But we're talking about your life for the moment. Okay. And what I mean by that is why take the time? Why take the time to find your purpose? Okay. Well, the reason being, it is one of 4 steps to success. And this is a formula I've discovered after talking to over 100,000 clients. Okay. And yes, I do have my neat little pad of paper that I tell you about, to keep things organized. But the whole reason for having a purpose is once you've got a goal in mind, you can now start eliminating the stuff or altering the energy pattern of stuff that is not contributing to your idea of success. Now, understand, success for you may be a well-run household, one of the most undervalued professions in the world. Second only, as far as I'm aware, to child rearing. Okay, if you take on the task of becoming a parent, or more complicated, becoming a spiritual guide, these are extremely important. Okay, but having a purpose for your own life becomes far more important in some ways. Lord Rebeljack, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to talk in terms of my goals simply because it gives you a reference point. Okay, so what I am looking at doing, okay, is I'm building an ARC, an active recovery center. Football, in all fairness, nobody's ever ready to be a parent. However, Was I planning on parenthood in my case? Like, as in, was my eldest son a planned occurrence, as in we're going to have a kid? The answer is yes. We were fully prepared in that side of it. But I'll tell you, the challenges that come up are not always as cut and dried as you might think. We did intend on having our second son, but it took, I mean, in all fairness, it took 4.5 years from the time we had the first one to the time we had the second one. No, that is a mistake. Not 4.5 years. He's 26 now. It took 7.5 years for the second child to come along. Okay, but with all the challenges that go hand in hand with it, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Okay, I really wouldn't. From my standpoint, I'm very happy about it. But I will tell you, the one caution I have for anybody out there: do not wait to have a child for when you can afford it. Because I'm telling you, that's not part of the equation. So, for me, it's simple. I hid from the world for 50 years. I'm 60 now, so probably 55 years I tried hiding from the world. Didn't work that well, but I gave it a good shot. Okay, my purpose now is very simple. Come out of the shadows and let people know you can do this. Together we can make this world a better place for virtually everybody. We are certain to upset some people. Okay, as some of you have borne witness to, I will not try and tolerate people that are being bullies. I just won't tolerate it. Not in this chat room. We've got a phenomenal crew of people in here. Very, very supportive people. Okay. Absolutely a very supportive group of people. The cross chatter that happens is not trolling. What happens with the cross chatter is I find somebody in the chat room goes, I'm having this problem. And you get half a dozen people going, here's a solution. This is what I desire to see happen with the rest of the world. Okay. Now, if we can do it in this chat room, we can certainly do it around the world. Okay. That's just my personal outlook on it as far as that goes. Now, I told both my boys as they were growing up, I constantly told them, look, you will always have a place here. You may not always have a bed because, well, frankly, it depends where I'm living, but the door will always be open. Well, my eldest son moved out, and 5 years later, he asked if he could move back in. Okay, so like I told him, I said, absolutely. He's now living with us again. Okay, and in today's world, especially when you look at the rent around this place, around this city, okay, if you're looking at a one-bedroom apartment, you're looking at anywhere from $1,400 to $1,800 a month. Okay, I'm in a three-bedroom apartment, no stairway, no elevator, ground floor, no yard work. I'm only paying $1,061. And now both my boys are contributing, meaning I'm only paying about $350-ish. $360 a month of my share of the rent. Okay, this is fantastic. I'll tell you, there is no functional reason for us to move. But let me ask you this. You're standing there with your life the way it is. Now, you can do nothing about what brought you to where you are. What you can do is determine how things are going to move forward. But that's up to you. And this neat little thing here. One nice thing about having a small workspace is I manage. Oh, it is Yldrbac. It really is. One person, a single person, cannot survive on their own in this city. You have to have a roommate. Even if you're working full time. Okay, you're going to have a roommate. Going to college and working, going to college and trying to maintain a house, good luck. So from my standpoint, it's like, no, I'm just not working. I'm just not worrying about it too much. But as I've said, the reality of it is this. If the government, if the peoples of the world really wanted inflation to stop, it's a child's game to stop it. Okay. JCL, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Stopping inflation is simple. It gets done in small sections. Oh, we'll take this section of the working world and we'll freeze wages or we'll freeze prices. If you take the entire country and you freeze wages and prices across the board, and by the way, I know this is going to upset some of you, this means unions and government as well as the common population. You freeze both wages and prices, you have zero inflation. Okay, it's that simple. Now, I don't know, maybe that's rocket science to some people. Roommates can, that is very true, football. But given the option of living on the street or having a roommate, which one makes more sense? So, first and foremost, where are we? Yeah, you absolutely are there, Lord Rebel Jack. I'm fortunate. I'm in a place, I've been here for 10 years, and I've got no interest in moving. But with that in mind, okay, now take a look at where you are, people. Ask yourself, are you content where you are? If not, find a purpose to clear things out. Now, in my case, it's real simple. I have discovered that I've reached a point where staying hidden isn't going to work. Okay, I gave the world, I hid from the world for 55 years. Gave them a chance to wake up. Okay, now, no, I'm not starting anything. I will tell you right now, overthrowing a government, overthrowing a company, doing any of this, starting a war, none of it works to improve the world. None of it does. Okay, you desire to change the world. Make the change in yourself first. Okay, now I've got behind the 8 ball here in a few things, and this is why. Where are we? That's there. Things got a little screwy on me for a while. So, think what I'm going to do. Now, I'm going to ask you a real bizarre question, guys. And this is just literally a business decision-making process. I've got the newsletter, and all it is right now is a newsletter. It will eventually get to a magazine. But if I fold it, in 3, I can pop it into a standard mailbox. Okay, it will end up creased, but I've come to the conclusion that financially speaking, and from an economic standpoint, I have to look at that. Okay, if I take this and put it into a normal envelope, in like a normal letter envelope, instead of into the big calendar ones I've got, I think that's going to work out better. Okay, so I've got to get a bunch of those done tonight. I've got them already printed off. It's just a case of putting them together. But, and greetings there, Tracy B. And absolutely, be a better you. If you're not content with the way something's working, change yourself first. Now, if you'll notice, okay, I've got a bunch of stuff on my desk on my bed right now. So, I take the information and get what I can out of the way. This particular one is a whole pile of stuff from SEI. So this particular file can go back where it belongs. And yes, this is a question of realizing that if I don't make the changes, I'm going to run into all kinds of neat little complications. So, pop that in there. Now, this should be on the Return to Paradise. Yep, that's what that is. So that goes there because I'll be working on it tonight. These here are the hard copies, and unfortunately, guys, I do apologize for it, but, for all the good that does you. These I'll be packaging tonight. And what is this? Insights for writing, writing 2023 insights. I will have to go through that and take a peek at it, but for the moment, put it into that file where it belongs. And these guys here are literally scratch notes. That works out well. So, we take that, pop it into the shredder, take these two, that's already written off, so I don't need to worry about that. And that gets, as you can see, the bed got cleared pretty quick. Again, it boils down to this. Make absolutely certain that what you're working on, if you know it's got to be dealt with, deal with it. Do not keep putting it off. I'll tell you, I have got procrastination down to a fine art. Okay, as in, never do what you can put off. Okay, so that clears out of the way, except one thing, and it can be got from here. Now, what is the purpose? Why have a purpose for doing anything? Well, here's the biggest reason for a purpose. Joe, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Lord Rebeljack goes, I was a casino dealer for 29 years and was literally burned out on people. I quit and basically I quit to basically stop hating everyone. 2 years later, I'm still unemployed, but a much better person. Ultimately, that was one of the reasons why when I spent 23 years as a professional psychic consultant with only one employer at that point. If I count total, 96 to 2022 was, well, how many? 96 to 2022. My math is working really well. So we're looking at 27 years, so close to the same. And basically when they closed the doors, I went, I'm not talking to people. Okay, I was already rather reclusive. Now I've decided, okay, it's time to come out of the shadows. It's time to say, okay, look, you don't like the way your life is. It's time to alter it. Chris Blow, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So I figured, what the heck? Let's start at the very beginning. As the song goes, it's a very good place to start. But the beginning may not be where you think it is. The beginning of your life does not start when you were born. It starts every time you turn around. In today's world, we're looking at where you are right here, right now, because you're all in the same boat. You're right here, right now. This is where you make the changes. This is when you make the changes. Okay, so I'm going to go through it one step at a time because we cannot change the past. Okay, people talk to me about, well, Can't I go back in time and change things? No, you really can't. People that tell you, and I'm looking into this, there's something that bothers me about the whole thing about time travel that I just came across. And I'm looking for somebody that is likely more versed in something called a walk-in. I would love to have a conversation with somebody that's well versed in it for a number of reasons. Okay, do I understand what walk-ins are? Yes. But there's an interesting question that has come to light that I'm really batting around to figure out how to reconcile it with my own understanding, because it's got one heck of a glitch. What I do know is whatever you've done in this world, you cannot alter. Okay, it's already been done. You can repair it, but like it said in one song I listened to, you break a mirror, you can certainly glue the mirror back together, but it's still going to have the cracks. Okay, but as you pointed out, Lord Reproduction, okay, as you pointed out, much as you're still unemployed, you feel like you're a much better person. Okay, and this is the whole thing that I've been looking at. Okay, I stopped dealing with people altogether for 6 months. Spent way too much money in places I really shouldn't have. Didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. But that's because I was trying to make myself feel better. And here's the kicker. If you're not happy with your life, the odds are very good you're going to spend more money striving to convince yourself you're happy than you will actually being happy. Okay, I'm still trying to figure out what happy is. I know he's a short little dwarf, but of course, you have to wonder exactly why he's so happy. And we're not going to get into that because I can hear, say, especially gamers with some really interesting ideas. Joe has paranormal question for you. The female white ghost in Ghostbusters hovering over one of the guys in the movie. That woman, that ghost is she's not actually a ghost, she's an avatar. Meaning that particular female is an emanation. She is a thought projection of another entity, simply to get the attention, to get the character's attention. This does happen in real life, but here's the kicker: when you get to that level of ability, you can broadcast your own energy through that apparition. Okay. Yeah, no doubt there. No doubt there, Lord Reproduction. I will caution you on one thing, and I don't think you're this way inclined anyway. Okay, go down whatever rabbit hole you will. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm going to throw an interesting twist into that little thought. And where are we? This one here. This is a rabbit hole that we've got there is a young lass that comes into this room on a regular basis. You'll see her as Raven. But this is her live stream, and it's literally called The Rabbit Hole. Okay, but absolutely drop in, give her a listen. If you like what she has to say, give her a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. Some of the internet, the silly part about it, when we look at the internet, okay, I used to be like many people out there going, the major media is what's driving the negative world. They're the ones that want to post everything that's bad, everything that's, who stole, who ripped who off, who cheated on who started what war, who murdered who. I used to think that was the driving force behind that was your major media, much like many of you probably still do. Then the internet came out. Okay, and I found out the real driving force is people have been trained for centuries to look at the negative side of life. Okay, I'm done looking at the negative side. Does it come up? Certainly. But am I going to spend any time on it? Not at all. Not a prayer. Where am I here? I'm just not interested in it anymore. Not the world, just the negative side of it. And take that phone, put it out of the way. Yeah. See, I'm a firm believer that, I'm a firm believer I am certainly not perfect. As a matter of fact, I'm probably as far away from it as you can get. However, if I say something that doesn't add up, absolutely let me know. Okay. The reality is, if you've got a point that adds up, I will quite readily change my viewpoint. A prime example was a decade ago. I had a channel or a program that I was the host, and I would bring in people to interview. Okay, on that particular program, like I used to be on KGRA a decade ago. On that program, I had a well-placed member of the Church of Satan and a well-placed member of the Roman Catholic Church. Now, I had some misconceptions and some misunderstandings about the Church of Satan. So, of course, I made a comment. Semper Fi there, Black Dragon. I made a comment, and the guy from the Church of Satan goes, No, you've got it all wrong. That's not right. He sent me the 11 directives of the Church of Satan, proved what he was saying, and since then I've gone, no, the Church of Satan is not functionally different from any other religion. It's not evil. It's not a negative thing. It's what you do with it. Whether it is the Church of Satan, one of the Christian churches, the Muslim churches, they all teach the same thing. Even the covens do. Okay. So when you're looking at that, I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Lord Rebel Jack. I've listened to people claim to be experts. My brother defined an expert in a brilliant way. He goes, look, an expert, you take that as expert, an unknown drip under pressure. Okay. And I swore at that point there was no way I was ever going to call myself an expert. I mean, yes, I'm an unknown drip. And most of the pressure I'm under, though, is self-imposed. The thing I would like to see everybody in here come up with is take a look at your life and let's start seeing the changes happen. Okay, that is something that is going to be phenomenal. We take this little microcosm and transplant it via your guys' input into the external world, and we have a world that is absolutely phenomenal. Yes, peoples around the world are different. Okay, but different does not mean evil. It does not mean bad. Okay, now, yes, there are jokes, and the reason I don't have a lot of problem with some of the more, shall we say, stereotypical jokes is because most stereotypical jokes can be transposed into any nationality, any race, any species, doesn't matter. Okay, for just an obvious example, I came to the conclusion that blonde is not a hair color. It's a personality type. Now, here's the thing. My purpose at this point is simple. To get out of the shadows and to let people know. YouTube University, how you doing? Glad you could join us. To let people know and to lead by example. To change my life for the better. Light a beacon so you guys, so anybody that sees it can go, hey, that's working for him. just maybe, if, when I put the same effort in, when I take the same philosophies, just maybe I can turn my life. Okay. Now, I've listened to the guidance of so-called professionals. Okay. I went bankrupt twice. Once because of what I call creative financing. What do we got here? Yeah, Lord Rebeljack goes, yes. In this 2-year semi-retirement, I only want positive people around me. I spend very little time with the negative YouTubers. Absolutely. One of the biggest things I will tell you is, if you go back into some of my older videos and look for what I've got to figure out, I've got 2 YouTube channels, it turns out, and I got a question for any one of you guys that work on YouTube. Do any of you know how to combine 2 YouTube channels without losing the one that's working properly, or even how to move the videos over to the new one? Okay, because I've got another 300 videos or so from way back that I did before that I do have to move. I don't see the point in keeping a bunch of channels up and running. It's like I'm going to be paring down to just a channel and to just a website or two and focus there. Oh, heavens, I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Lord Rebel. Lord Rebel Jack. Now, I hate to be the one to, no, I don't. It depends on what you call old. Okay. Now, in my case, I'm 60. I feel better now than I did when I was 30. And if we look at my memories, well, literally speaking, they're billions of years old. I don't consider myself old anymore. You will get older. Every single one of you will get older. The question is, are you going to get old? That's your choice. Lord Rebel Jack goes, I'm 55 and punished my body. Okay. Now, so did I. Okay, I'm not going to pull my shirt up and show you, but I used to have a basketball. Okay, 2 years ago, I was 246 pounds. I swore I would never break the 250. Since then, I am now floating around the 195. But one of the biggest problems I have with dropping weight is I've got 40 pounds of extra bone in my body. Yeah, Lord Rebel Jack goes, I'm 10 years old in my mind. Hopefully your maturity level's a little higher than that, but what the heck, it obviously is. But we all have to individually make a decision. Are you going to look at what brought you to where you are in life and go, my life is a shambles and there's no way I can get out of this, etc.? Or are you going to do what a client of mine decades back, well, not decades, well, I guess pretty close now, it'd be close to 20 years ago. Yeah, the monetary rat race will do that to you. I had a client a decade ago or so. Okay, she ended up growing up on the street because her father did to her what nobody should do to anybody. And he did it repeatedly. So she ended up on the street, strung out on drugs. She was a clinical parent. She was a clinical multiple personality. And I mean, I dealt with her for a year. I'll tell you, from that standpoint, she was an absolute shambles. When I met her, I was warned she was a problem. When she got put through to me, I got warned she was a problem child. Right. So when she got on the horn, I let her rant for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, maybe 3. And I finally cut her off. I said, hold it. I'm done. Okay, I'm not debating whether your life, and this applies to you guys as well, I'm not debating whether your life was miserable for the first part of your life. Starting today, You have the choice as to whether you're going to hang on to what you went through, or you have the choice to move forward. Your call, not mine. Okay, and I'm not going to tell you it's good, bad, or indifferent, but I will tell you this. If you continue holding on to the past, moving forward is going to be problematic. Now, this particular woman, when I met her, she was a volatilely vindictive kleptomaniac as well. Okay, I mean really volatilely. Okay, as in she was trying to cross the crosswalk on like in the corner of a street on a pedestrian passing. Okay, she waited for the light and somebody cut the corner so tight on her she physically had to jump back onto the sidewalk. Now, with that in mind, okay, she turned around and, she spent 2 days walking around the city in her area because she knew she'd seen the car before. And she finally found it 2 days later. She dropped a Molotov cocktail into the back seat. Okay, and that was what brought her to me because she said she was such a bad person for doing that. And I looked at her and I said, well, I'm not going to argue that it wasn't the nicest thing, but on the plus side, you did make certain you did wait until everybody was out of the car. So take the bonus where you can get it. Absolutely, Joe. Joe goes, it's not so much a problem getting old. It's getting old with someone. Okay. And the way I look at it, I just refuse to get old. My father worked until he was 80 as a sheet metal tech with type 2 diabetes and severe arthritis. Okay. Now, so he worked until he was 80. At 80 years old, he got diagnosed with cancer of the kidneys. I believe it was cancer of the kidneys. And 6 months later, he was dead. Now, in my case, I figure I've done the death thing. So I figure, what the heck? My estate's going to pay for the wake anyway. I'm having one a week before I die. I'm just not interested in waiting till the last minute because, let's face it. If people have a wake for me and I'm already dead and I show up, it's going to put a bit of a kink in the celebrations. But find a purpose in life. For me, it's simple. Take this message that I was sent back, that I came back here to pass, that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. There will be people that are not happy because they've got this idea, I'm better than you, I deserve more money, I deserve more pay. No, you don't. Okay, I have never met anybody that had a lot of money that I felt deserved it more than I did, or deserved it less for that matter. Okay, it's not whether or not you have money. That has never been a deciding factor on whether somebody is decent. One of the nicest people I ever met lived on the street by choice, and his bank account had a balance of, and I don't remember the exact number, but it was $960,000 in the bank, but he chose to live on the street. Lord Reproduction is going, that's why I'm spending my savings to sit tight and evolve myself. It just doesn't feel right to join the world yet. And, here's the thing. Where it comes to joining the world, I agree. Doing what they're doing does not make sense. Okay, I just found out from my son. Okay, he graduated last year. But get this. He goes back this year. It is now September. And what does the school tell him? Oh, you can't have your diploma for 2 months. Okay, this is September. University colleges start now, but they're not able, and you require your diploma to get into a university or college. And our illustrious educational system up here in Kelowna has turned around and gone, hey, novel idea, you're not getting your diploma until November, which means every one of the kids graduating now, almost every one of them, will have to wait until next year to get into university. Like, that's going to help our society a lot. You know, there's got to be a rational reason for that, but I'll be hanged if I know what it is. So I'm asking you, take a look at your own life. Are you content with where it's saying? Black Dragon goes, I deserve more bacon. This will make you feel good and feel better, or, you know, in a normal ballpark there, Black. I am known to go to the grocery store and I'll buy, you know, a couple of packs of bacon, right? A couple, 3 packs, whatever. Put them in the freezer, and I will have a full pack of bacon on its own. No other vegetables, no other, you know, no bread, just bacon. Okay, and call that a meal. Now, I don't know if that's really healthy, but I do know I enjoy it. But I will tell you, I prefer it when it's not cooked to the point of being crispy. You know, crispy doesn't work for me well. You know, I mean, that's just the way that goes. Yeah, well, here's the thing, football. Local news stations are more interested in who ripped who off, who stole what, who murdered who, this sort of thing. The fact that the educational system is failing miserably. When you're holding back diplomas, you've had 3 months to get them sorted out. Oh, I have no idea who murdered who. I don't watch the news anymore. Okay. But you take a look at papers, they put on them, here's a front line, you know, a front page headline. So and so murdered so and so in their own home. Okay, it's a terrible thing, does need to be reported, but why the front page? This is why in the newsletter I'm putting out, I'm not going into the idea of who ripped off what. You know, I'm just not that interested in it. You know, so what I'm looking at is this. Probably, but I don't even know if they're getting the transcripts. Should ask that. Give me 10 seconds and I will find out because I'm nosy. Don't have a definitive answer, but you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to find out tomorrow. Can't find out today because, well, frankly, the school's closed. Football's just letting us know, yeah. Oh, absolutely. But here's the thing, you know, like I'm looking at this here. Where are we here? Yeah, Lord Rebeljack goes, I live near Memphis. That's all they talk about. I quit mainstream and local news. I'm a lot happier. This is why I don't watch it. Okay. Football, you said that you worked at a lot of colleges and universities in the US. Okay. I'm curious if, in your experience, if that diploma was necessary. I'm not sure if the transcripts are available, but I'm going to go in tomorrow and find out one way or the other. Where are we here? Yeah, I think I read Chariots of the Gods a long time ago. I don't have a copy of it now. And I've been getting rid of a lot of books and what have you that I don't have any functional use to read. Okay, but I am starting to read again. No, I'm not starting to read again because I never was an avid reader. But take a look at where your life is. What can you, in one thought, you know, think about your life really carefully, and ask yourself one question: what starting today? Never mind what it was, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Doesn't matter. What is your purpose today? Okay, my purpose is simple: to turn on the light and become a beacon for moving forward. The only way I can do that is to literally go, this is what I'm suggesting, this is what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah. Lord Rebeljack is going, the hearings were very historical and moving for me. Yeah, absolutely. You know, day after I remember Roswell all too well. Now, understand something very, very important where it comes to Roswell. I wasn't in this lifetime, I wasn't alive. When Roswell happened, I was. Football goes, when I went to university, I was older in the high school system had a fire and lost my high school records. They notarized a letter saying I was a high school graduate. Yeah, and today getting them to even open the door is fun. Okay. Now, here's a neat little thought for you, Black Dragon. Okay, you said your purpose is to follow the energy where it needs you. Okay, the trick to really making that happen is look at what you're feeling. Okay, anything that doesn't fit with what you're seeing as functional for you, that's where you start putting effort into making an alteration around you. This is not to change other people. This is to put boundaries in place and say, I'm going to guide the energy that's coming around me to guide it to where I desire things to go. You know, I do appreciate that there football, and I will pass it on to him when I get out there. When I go out again the next time. I've seriously been considering going back to university. Going to college, university, home study, don't know. But I know where it comes to technology, I'm definitely behind the eight ball. Okay, but take a look at your life. Whatever brought you to where you are, all of that is history. All of that matters in as much as it guides how your life is, how you see your life. But what you do with it is up to you. Okay, where you go from here. This is why I say pick a purpose. For me, is to bring what I see as hiccups, as inequities in the world to light. This is why I say if you're listening, if you're going to a church, a temple, a coven, whatever, the moment they tell you that one group of people is less important or is more unworthy than another group, they have missed the ball. They've missed the game, the page altogether. Okay, every religion that I've talked to people about across the board, and I think it's been 8 or 10 different religions, including but not limited to Catholicism, Judaism, Hinduism, Muslim, the witches' covens, as in your pagan religions. Okay, the Hare Krishnas, and I don't know what religion that is, so I got over it. But the Krishnas, every religion I've talked to, including Satanism, all teach essentially the same thing. Be nice to each other. Football is going. I knew nothing about technology and took Microsoft classes at the local community college to give myself more work options. Yeah, and this is pretty much what I'm looking at. Technology and I have arguments regularly. And I've mentioned this before. You take a cell phone. I can take my cell phone, set it on the table up in the dining room, come back here, okay, and my phone will phone somebody. Okay, now that's odd. I get a kick out of it, but what the heck? Okay, but find a purpose. A couple of things I can tell you. If you're worried about your mind giving in a little, and slipping and starting to have things like dementia or senility, this sort of thing, learn another language. Okay, doesn't matter what the language is. Go to school, learn it online. According to one lass that I was talking to that spoke fluent German, in her way, okay, oh, that's okay. Mine's an iPhone. From this one lady's standpoint, she says, look, if you go to Google Translate and you put a sentence in from English to German, it gets it pretty solid. If you're putting more than one sentence in, you're going to run into a problem. Okay, because she says it'll scramble it. But that said, I utilize it on a regular basis when I have to. But I cannot stress the importance of having a purpose in your life. What that purpose is up to you. Okay, I've got a couple of major goals that I'm working on. Yes, I am, in case you hadn't noticed, and this will prove it to you in pretty good short order. Here we are on the 6th of September. These should have gone out 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I ran out of paper with part of the problem. Okay, or more to the point, I forgot where I put it. Finally found it, so I got them printed off. I'll be folding those up tonight and dropping them in the mail tomorrow. Which does mean tomorrow morning, which is a Thursday, I've got to be out, go to the post office and the school, all before. Tomorrow's Thursday. Oh, that's okay. My game doesn't start tomorrow until 3 o'clock. So I'm good. What do I got here? Black. Oh, what do we got? I agree with you wholeheartedly there. Lord Reproduction is going, the tuition to go to college, even online, is criminal. Okay, the fact of the matter is, we are crippling the future by not teaching people. And this is why I decided that what I'm bringing here, I will not charge. I don't consider it really complicated. But the way I figure it, I've seen a lot of YouTubers that get a decent number of followers, and all of a sudden they go, oh, I'm going to charge for the archives, or I'm going to make this a private group. I will not do that. Okay, because the people that require the guidance don't always have the money. And the ones that have the money won't accept the guidance. This is why I went from being paid for my consulting. Bear in mind, I've got 45 years under my belt. Started when I was 10, 22. Yeah, I've got 40 years under my belt anyway. Okay, professionally, I have been paid as much as $2,600 an hour for what sits up here. I brought that whole cost down to $80 an hour, effective about 3 weeks ago. Okay, so will I do consulting for people? Absolutely. Okay, but the reality of it is, for those of you that go, well, if it's a natural ability, you shouldn't charge. Good idea. But how do I keep a roof over my head? Or how do you keep a roof over your head? Okay. But this idea of charging thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars and calling it a good deal is a shovelful and then some. And my usual comment to people like that is, tell me, is a shovel necessary or is a backhoe more appropriate? Okay, because I'm telling you, I agree. The cost of tuition is absolutely insane. This is why I say, if you've got a question when I'm on air, and I'm on as often as I can get away with, even if it's not a topic that we're talking about, absolutely ask. Put your question in the chat room, and it doesn't matter. I'm not just talking about UFOs or the paranormal, even day-to-day life. How do you make contact? I like the question, football. No. Football goes, when you do a consultation, do you tell the alcoholic to stop drinking? No. But I do ask the alcoholic, do you personally, never mind what anybody else has said, do you personally desire to stop drinking? If they say yes, I know you're for real there, football. If and no offense taken by any functional stretch, if the alcoholic tells me, yes, I would really like to quit drinking, then I will absolutely give a proven method to stop drinking, stop drugs, stop overeating, stop eating junk food. I would give you a tool for absolutely nothing more. Okay, that is a proven method, proven as in several thousand people have done it and successfully pulled away. I will give that tool for nothing more than the time that you're already in the consultation. If I'm doing a video and I go, I've got a piece of information for you, I'll give it to you at the end. No, if I tell you I've got a piece of information, I'm giving it to you as soon as I can. I'm not interested in dragging you along. Okay. Oh, here's a neat little tidbit. Now you listen to me ramble for the next hour, and I'll tell you the answer. That is not the way I work. Okay. But is there a way to stop alcoholism when the person desires to stop for themselves? Even if it's, I've got to stop drinking because I know my kidneys are failing. Okay, never mind the doctor saying anything. Because I'll tell you, the doctor can tell you, you got to quit drinking. You got to quit smoking. You got to quit drugs. And it's not going to matter if you're not ready. If an alcoholic desires to quit drinking for them, I've got a way to bring it to a close. So tell me, football, and I'm hoping this is no. Did she reach over and slap the woman? Realistically, and this is why I was saying, if you're going to claim to be psychic, the idea is to leave the person feeling uplifted, feeling that there is something they can do to reclaim power over their own life. Okay, I heard of another guy that went to a psychic and they spent 15 minutes telling him he was evil and going to burn in hell because he was gay. And I will tell you, you go to hell, you're going to burn. I'm telling you, the hot tubs are way too freaking hot. Okay, but on the flip side, if you want a good deep tissue massage, the people in hell have it down to a fine art. And congratulations there, Black Dragon. Black Dragon says, I quit drinking cold turkey by playing mind games on myself. See, I quit drinking and drugs by simply going, done, and I walked out. I'm an abnormality. I know this. But where it comes to your sister, if she herself desires to quit drinking, I do have a method to solve that. Okay, as a matter of fact, grab a pen and a sheet of paper. Okay, and in this case, football, I'm talking directly to you. Okay, everybody else, I encourage you to do it as well. But in your case, football, yeah, we're not going to get into that for just a moment there. But let me know when you've got a piece of paper and a pen. Because this is for anybody if you desire or if you know somebody that desires to quit drinking for themselves. Okay. If you know somebody, even if they've gone through AA and they're still fighting with it, because I'll tell you, going through AA, they'll tell you you're an alcoholic for life. I'm telling you, you don't have to be. I used to drink a 26er a night without blinking. Okay. Almost literally. My brother used to do it literally without blinking. But once you've got a piece of paper and a pencil there, football, I can give you the method. It's real easy. Okay. I'm just giving you a couple of minutes to grab it. That's all. The key to it from my end is this. If you're going to quit doing something that you no longer desire to do, it's got to be because you feel it. Now, here's the boring part, football. And you can write this down however you will. But she takes a recording device. Now, whether that's a cell phone, a tape recorder, I don't know what recording devices are out there anymore. But get a recording device that will hold a half-hour recording. Okay? And in her voice, her words, she literally goes, I no longer desire to drink alcohol. That is all she says. She repeats that. I no longer desire to drink alcohol. Repeat that back to back for a half hour solid. Okay. Now it's boring as all get out. But here's why it works. Okay, once I'll get to that in 10 seconds. Nathan, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yes, it will help with withdrawals, and I'll explain why in half a second. Once she has recorded that statement, I no longer desire to drink alcohol. Period. Once she's got it recorded, okay, every night when she goes to bed, and I mean literally every night when she goes to bed, once she's done watching TV, done whatever she's doing with her husband, if she's up studying or if she's doing whatever, once she is ready to go to bed, to go to sleep, put the phone and put the recording device beside her bed and let it run. Turn it on. It can be on low volume. It doesn't matter. Okay. Let it run every single night. Okay. Average turnaround time for this to work. 21 days. Not 21 months, not 21 weeks, not 21 years. We are talking average time, 21 days. Okay. And here's why it works. The human brain will accept programming. And the two best times to accept programming is just as you're waking up or just as you're going to sleep. Now, clearly, you got to be awake in order to hit the play button. So you're better off doing it as you're drifting off to sleep. Okay, what happens is when you're doing that, okay, what happens is it gets into your head and she'll go to reach for a drink. She may, to start with, still be drinking just as normal. But what will happen in time is, and by the way, if she misses a day of that recording, start over counting on day one. Do not tell her not to berate herself for missing one. She didn't fall off the wagon. There was no wagon to be on. And if she fell off the wagon, my guess is she lives on a farm. But that whole process, what happens is she'll go to reach for a drink, and she'll go, "No, I really don't feel like it right now." So she'll put the drink down. It will get further and further apart. Okay. Now, the nice part about it is it works on the subconscious, and the human brain accepts programming best in its own voice. This is why it works. Okay. I cannot count the number of people I've handed this to, but what I have discovered is an alcoholic, and there are two types of alcoholics and recovered alcoholics, not recovering. Okay, that method works. Hand that to her. Hand it to anybody you know that desires to quit drinking. That same method works for stopping drugs, okay, or for stopping cigarettes. I've seen it work firsthand in dozens of people, well, literally in hundreds of people, probably thousands in all fairness. Understand, since 1976, I have had in excess of 100,000 clients. So when I'm talking database, I'm talking firsthand experience, as in what I have witnessed with my own eyes and my own ears. And Nathan, we are right here. This is the Link to Nathan show. Okay, and again, drop in, give him a listen when you get the opportunity. If you like what he has to say, absolutely give him a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of it. Lord Rebeljack, yes, it is subliminal programming. It's literally self-hypnosis. We are taught that hypnosis is something you have to go to school for. Well, guess what? You just went to school. This is the same method I personally have used for countless things. Okay. The one I never used it for personally, and I'm not going to, is I never used it to stop smoking cigarettes. Do understand, I never started smoking cigarettes. I'm not about to start to find out if it worked. Okay. So, with that in mind, and you are more than welcome, football. I would love to hear that I would love to hear that your sister has given up on the drinking. Okay. Now, many people refuse to admit they're an alcoholic. Okay. And that's okay. I'm not the one to look down on anybody anyway. The nice part about it is we're taught this time and again. And the really sad part is so many people are told, you're stupid. Okay. If you tell somebody you're stupid often enough, they will eventually take it on and believe they're stupid. Okay. Ask her one little question. Okay, but do it when she's, never mind when she's sober. Ask your sister one little question. Okay. And she can have a drink in her hand as long as her head works well enough she can understand what you're saying and communicate. Okay. Ask her, has the alcohol actually helped her at all? Okay. Because I will tell you this. This is the kicker where it comes to alcohol. Okay. People say it helps them relax. Newsflash, no, it doesn't, but thanks for playing. Alcohol knocks out trained and learned inhibitors, meaning your ability to cope with your coping mechanisms get shut down. Now, football is just going, my mom used to say she was stupid. I'm glad you made her stop. Okay, because I'll tell you the difference between stupid and ignorant. Ignorant is when you turn around. Ignorant is when you turn around and you do something because you didn't, for whatever reason, it didn't clue in that it was a bad idea. Okay. So if you, like, for instance, and this is a pretty obvious one, but if you've got a burner and you see it's red hot and you don't know what that means. You've got no idea for whatever reason. And you put your hand on the burner and you burn your hand. Well, needless to say, you're going to pull your hand off, or at least try. Okay. Now, you put it on there the first time because you were ignorant. You really didn't get it. 2 or 3 times later, it may clue in and go, every time I touch that red burner, I get burnt. Prior to that revelation, it is true ignorance. Once you make that connection, you put your hand on that red burner, that's called stupidity. Honestly, Lord Rebeljack, it really does. Okay, sometimes you gotta get right to the bottom of the barrel. I have that problem with finances. I have that problem with life. Is I usually have to find that I've got no functional place to go before I really deliberately change things, which is why I sat down with my other half over the last 2 days and went, okay, let's get a battle plan together. Let's start guiding the way by getting up, doing this is what I'm doing. This is now what's going on. Okay, so for me, it's simple. Become the guiding light, as in step out of the shadows and go, this is how I'm doing it. Follow these steps. They're working for me. They've worked for thousands of others. If you haven't taken these steps, then you're working on true ignorance. You can absolutely look at it and go, oh, that won't work for me. Whether you believe it will or you believe it won't, inevitably, almost inevitably, you're going to prove yourself right. In my case, I know I go down this road, I'm going to have 2 things happen. One, my health and my energy levels are going to go through the roof instead of the floorboards. Okay, my eyes are healing. They're not healed by any means. There's no way I'll go driving without glasses. Although my eyes have worked really well on occasion, I nearly did. But my purpose is simple: to become the light that I came here to be. Okay, now I've done this multiple times in the past. Okay, and I'm going to tell you the same thing I've told people over the centuries. All that I do, thou shalt do, and more. And I will tell you, what I'm doing, I'm nothing special from the standpoint of going, I've got an obstacle, I'm going to get around it. Okay, I'm no different than you are. When your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then you will achieve it. Okay, I know for an absolute certainty that this is going to work. And now what I'm looking at, now I've already done the route of dying. I walked out of the morgue. That was a cute one. I'll tell you, that's a riot to look at the other people's faces. Don't do it. Do not do that method. Okay. Tried to flatline in an incubator. This was a bad idea. Okay. Found out that not only do you die, but they electrocute you. This is wrong. This is a lousy experience. I did find a cure for epilepsy. Again, don't do it. Okay. I had a fatal seizure. Net result, once it was done, I no longer had grand mal seizures. It was literally like a light switch flipped. Okay. But my purpose is simple. Come out of the blocks, come out of the shadows, and start going, okay, guys, if you're following somebody spiritual, okay, that claims to be spiritual, whether it is a priest, a pastor, a rabbi, a psychic, a coven leader, it don't matter. Okay, if they're telling you, or for instance, a group leader, if they're telling you things to do and they're not doing them themselves, you may be on the wrong road. You may be following the wrong person, but that's for you to decide. Question everything. Like I said, don't believe everything I tell you just because I tell it to you. Okay, yes, I've got 60 years under my belt, but I still see many of the people that are older than me. I still look at them going, how, pray tell, did you live that long? And yes, Lord Rebeljack, I have an absolutely solid plan in place. Okay, this whole issue over the next several weeks, I am going to show you what that plan is. It's going to come out in bits and pieces because I'm only here for 2 hours a day. Okay. Yeah. Joe goes, the bar scene is nuts. I've seen men bring their wives or girlfriend with them to the bar, and from a distance, I'm like, this won't end well because other men in that bar are checking her out. From my standpoint, I used to date a model. Okay, she was a runway model. Okay, and she was over one day, and when she arrived, she was dressed in a microscope mini and a halter. Okay, and we were getting ready to go out, and she goes, "Oh, I gotta get changed." I looked at her and said, "Why?" She goes, "Well, what if other people are looking at me?" I said, "Look, if you're on my arm and you're staying on my arm, and they walk into a wall because they're looking at you, why am I going to feel bad about that?" I said, "I like the way you look. Why am I going to complain if other people like the way I look or the way you look? If you're still standing with me, I can sit there and go, yep, you're looking at her and gee, that's going to hurt." I've watched people do this sort of thing. The way somebody dresses is not an excuse to go and cheat by any stretch. Okay. So it took a little while for her to get to the idea that, hey, I'm allowed to dress this way and it's not going to cause jealousy. I'm odd. I know this. Okay. But, the reality of it is this: alcohol knocks out trained and learned inhibitors. Okay. Meaning your self control goes out the window. Okay. And I will tell you, I've never seen a relationship that the communication problem was not a 50-50 problem. The neat part about it, Black Dragon, is, it doesn't matter if you're in the darkness. It matters on whether or not you're propagating the darkness. Come into this sinful, into this terrible world. Come in and do this and you'll feel better. I'm telling you, drugs and alcohol do not make that happen. Okay. You would not believe the way actually, you want to get an idea on the way I see the world? This will give you a pretty solid insight. It's funny. When I first started writing this, it was simply to commemorate it was literally to commemorate my time with the specific gaming group and the people that created the characters. Okay, but once I had it written and had the whole outline laid out, somebody took one look at it and goes, that looks more like an autobiography than anything else. Now, I will tell you this: Birth of the Wolf Pack, The End of an Epic, The Return to Paradise could not be an autobiography because they haven't occurred yet. As a matter of fact, this takes place, where are we? We are in 2020, about 50 years down the road is where it's seated. This is not a forecast of how the world's going to end. Okay, Lord knows when the world may well end, but we may wipe society out the way people are going. Now one of the biggest things for me, the purpose is simple: to turn on the light, to stop hiding from what I know. Where are we here? Bad news, Lord Rebeljack. Aliens, yes. Aliens have Ethos back. They have the back of the planet. They are not here to protect mankind. Oh, I agree with you wholeheartedly there, Black Dragon. Black's just saying I would never draw this to the place I'm at. No, absolutely not. But you're one of these people that go, I'm sitting here. This is not where you want to come and visit. Okay, sure, this is where I am. Don't come here. I don't even try to explain to people anymore. Not too terribly much, anyway, because I literally see the positive, the negative, and the neutral literally all at once. You know, so from that standpoint, my goal is simple. With every method I've got, it all points the same direction. Where you're at, how you got to where you are, isn't the relevant issue. That will tell you how you feel about where you are. It does not tell you what your future has to be. Okay, I'm here to tell you, number one, you desire a better future. I can certainly point out where you're having hiccups and will more than readily do so. You know, the reality of it is this. Okay, when you look at your life and you go, I'm no longer connected, I am no longer happy. You are very close there, Nathan. The Clee clock. Okay, but that, the spelling is a little off from what I've understood, but you've got the right people. You know, so when you're dealing with them, again, alien races, ancient races, the human race, the different species and what have you, everybody is essentially the same. You've all come through whatever you came through to be where you are. And I don't see a difference there is no reason to treat people differently, in my opinion. Ultimately, yes, Lord Reproduction. It was funny, I had a friend years ago that really desired to make contact, and he was one of the few that when I went to set things in motion, because of his specific set of current skills and his dedication to doing things the right way. Okay, he managed to get off the planet on one heck of a ride. You're absolutely on the money there, Black. The reality is that you've got to, and this is why, karmic law number one, be true to yourself first. In other words, you've got to look in your own heart and go, does this work for me? If the answer is yes, then absolutely go with it. But the other two run hand in hand. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you, and energy out, energy in. Now, here's the kicker. Okay, and you get to figure out whether or not this is real, whether or not it's accurate, whether it's not, it's even plausible. Okay, and I'm going to go back to Christianity here, just because of the fact that's where the information sits. Okay, if you believe in the Christian thought process, okay, if you believe that Moses brought the tablets down from Mount Sinai, then this will matter to you. Okay, when he brought the tablets down in the first place, nobody, his brother included, you can check this out in Exodus, nobody saw what was written on the first set of tablets because he had them close to his chest, and he was so disgusted with the behavior of the people of the time, he shattered them on the ground before even Aaron got to see them, Aaron being his brother. Then he turned around and went back up the hill and got another set and came back down. Now, here's the kicker. I can tell you what was on those tablets. I cannot prove it, and you get to figure out how I can tell you at all. Is this plausible? Is it possible? Does it make sense? The first set of tablets only had 3. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now take a look at your own guidelines, whatever rules, whatever laws you follow, okay, whatever personal boundaries you have. Compare them to those three. And I will tell you, I don't feel you'll find any that won't fit in those. If you do, absolutely let me know, because I'm still looking for that exception. But those are the three, and those are the only three laws I follow. But understand something very important. Okay, the fact I follow them simply means, since in my experience they encompass all of the other ones. Okay, if you've got a question about one that you feel doesn't fit, ask. I will either explain how it fits into one of them, or I will go, okay, there's the exception. Now I got to find a way to deal with it. Either one I got no problem with. But my purpose is simple. Where are we here? If the path is easy to identify. Take a look at everything about you. Ask yourself, are you content with where you are right here, right now? This is where your life changes. My purpose, I've laid out. Some of the simplistic supporting purposes that I have is to complete this 12-volume saga. Okay, I've got 26, 23, 24, 26 books concurrently being written right now, so I can pass this information on. Okay, I'm keeping it as inexpensive as I can get away with, because quite frankly, I can't survive if I'm not making an income. And this is where I'm standing on things. It's that simple. Okay, so with that in mind, okay, we have to look at where you are. Well, you have to look at where you are. Decide, are you content with it? Exactly, Black. The reality is you're at the state you're in because of choices, because of decisions you made. Now it's up to you to decide if you want to stay there. Okay, when I got to the point that I didn't desire to drink anymore, I quit. Now, I was told you cannot quit cold turkey without withdrawals. I'm living proof you can so. And fortunately, the method I laid out earlier tonight, okay, does work. Okay, I cannot give you numbers on how many people I actually handed it to, but I can tell you, out of well over 100,000 people, a good 65% of them were relationship issues. 30% were roughly 30 were business issues. So I mean, from that standpoint, you actually have the ability to change where your life is. Will I be continually coming on here, often saying the same thing? Probably. Okay. Repetition seems to work. I.e., you sit there and tell somebody you're an idiot, you're an idiot, you're an idiot. The person's going to start believing they're an idiot. Okay. It's just the way the programming works. Myself, I look at it going, I have my own issues with self-esteem. I always have had. Okay, as a matter of fact, growing up, I did not feel my self-worth existed at all. To the point I wouldn't even tell my own parents. And they were great parents, don't get me wrong. Okay, but I wouldn't even tell them what I was going through. But am I going to look at any one of you and go, oh, you're worse? What do we got? Ultimately, Lord Reproduction, this is true. Lord Reproduction is going, like the Led Zeppelin song said, nobody's fault but mine. Okay, it is ultimately correct. It was your choice to do what you did. However, outside influence and peer pressure can absolutely drive somebody to do something stupid. Okay, my goal is to point out that you don't have to beat yourself black and blue for the rest of your life. Okay, honestly, Lord Reproduction, I never listened to Led Zeppelin growing up. Sorry to say, I'm not. But as Barbara Mandrell wrote, I was country when country wasn't cool. I still prefer country. Okay, now do understand, I prefer the upbeat country more than the upbeat country, and I do like a lot of the soft rock. But your classic rock, and especially your heavy metal, your metal, your death metal, that sort of thing, I just don't listen to it all. Death metal for me is literally a heart stopper, so I don't listen to it at all. Just a thought there, Lord Reproduction, and this applies to everybody. You've typed there, I'm trying to live in the present. Dump the word trying and just go, I'm living in the present. Tell yourself that as often as you have to in order to ensure that you program that mind of yours to remember that's where you are. You're right here, right now. You can think about what you did in the past. You can worry about what's coming in the future. But the only time you can change anything is right here, right now. That's it. Now, here's the thing. This fine little shirt, my people skills are just fine. It's my tolerance for idiots that requires work. And it's true, it does. But here's the kicker. I don't care. I've got no interest in tolerating idiots around me. Absolutely there, Lord Reproduction. All music, the way I tell people, if you're fighting depression, okay, one of the best ways. Well, and this is the thing, Lord Reproduction. It's something I know you've heard me do this. I'll say, I need such and such, and I'll cut myself off and go, no, I don't need it. I require or I desire it. Okay, I do not talk in terms of trying things. I talk in terms of doing things. Okay, although I do recommend and you may like it, but it's not bad for your health. But I really recommend you don't do it. I was told that ketchup and ice cream was really, really, really good. I'd never tried it before. So I didn't knock it. I went, okay, let's give it a shot. Bad idea in my opinion. Never tried it again. I'm telling you, for me, ketchup and ice cream is not a good mix. See, I didn't have taste buds to work with, but I can tell you from practical experience, ketchup and ice cream is not a good mix. What I can't tell you from experience, and I've yet to find somebody that's given me a straightforward answer. This old saying, kissing a smoker is like kissing a dirty ashtray. Like, who, pray tell, is the idiot that decided to kiss the dirty ashtray to find out? But it's just a thought. But like I said, I've got a couple of purposes. One is to become that guiding light, to have people come away from the stream going, I can do this. I can change my life. I've got the ability to change my life from where it is to where I desire it to be. And here are the steps I can follow that have been proven that do work. Now, bear in mind, if they work for me, they can work for you. If they work for your neighbor, they can work for you. I will tell you, though, if you never started smoking, learning how to stop smoking doesn't work that well. Okay. But that's one goal. Another one of the big ones. This is a 12-volume saga. 2 are out. I've got 10 more to go. Okay. This is a 12-volume series. Okay. And as you can see, 3 of them are out. I've got 9 to go. I'm in the process of writing all of these at the same time, by the way. Nathan is just sharing. One time I said that pizza tastes like cardboard, and was told if you take a bite of that box it came in, it'll taste different. He was right. Never said that again. Well done, Nathan. And that's where you can look at it and go, okay, they claim that. I've tried it. I'm telling you, it's different. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Joe goes, it's Mozart for me. Very rarely is it heavy metal. Bands like Dokken and Def Leppard, I do like, but most of the time Mozart. None of the Slayer stuff. Oh, the other one I cannot listen to because it's painful. Okay, although it's decently done, is opera, but it's too high a note for me. Unless you listen to Yoko Ono. Now, in my opinion, that's just bad music, just across the board. I don't know if she ever hits a note, and if so, probably by accident. But, I've got the 2 children's books out. I'm writing. I'm going back. I'm still looking for the third one. There is only one. Most rap I don't like. Okay, there is one, and people will argue with me consistently. I am still a firm believer that the first rap singer I ever heard was Johnny Cash. He speaks to music. That, to me, is the definition of rap. Now, that may be the wrong definition for some of you. But no, most of the rap music that I hear is very negative. Okay, so in all fairness, I don't listen to it. So I don't know what's coming out now. But what I do know is what I'm going to be doing and what I'm already laying out. Like I said, those will go out very shortly. But I have decided, I was thinking of leaving them in the bigger envelopes. But economically speaking, if I fold these into a standard envelope, then what I'm looking at is economically it's easier to do. And I'm going to have to look that up because honestly, it's not often I run into that. But you've used a word here that, honestly speaking, I really don't know. So I'm just going into my internet here and finding out just exactly what it actually means. Oh, you can do that over here. We go there and we go paste. There we are. Oh, okay, I was mispronouncing it. Anything that is prejudice against one group or another, I've got no functional use for. I'm just a firm believer. I have no room in my world for prejudice against anybody unless they are treating me in a negative fashion. Like, for instance, I had a chap the other day, ran into him. Okay, he asked me for a ride somewhere. I told him I couldn't. I was already busy. Okay, and he goes, "What? You don't like me because I'm native?" I looked at him. I went, "Let's get something straight. You were born in Canada." He goes, "Yeah." I said, "So was I. We're both native." I said, "The fact of the matter is, you got a bike, and the area you're heading to is 15 minutes walk. I've got an appointment I got to be at. I don't need to explain it. I don't like the fact I don't like a lot of things, but your nationality, your heritage is the least of my concerns." I mean, yes, I have a very short temper, verbal temper, where it comes to dealing with what I call stupid. Okay, So, from my standpoint, Ferret, you got back. Glad you rejoined us. The reality is anything that makes you or that helps you feel better or helps other people feel better, this is what you work with. This is why whenever I'm dealing with people, if at all possible, I may not always have a smile on my face. Okay. I've got a pretty sour outlook on the world in a lot of ways, but I still will greet people in a pleasant fashion as best I can. Okay, and I encourage you to do the exact same thing. Okay, it just boils down to take a look at your goal. Now, I've listed a few of them. The other big one I'm doing, okay, I'm building an empire. Not I built it. As was pointed out to me by somebody, I forget exactly who, but I've already gone global. I'm going to get properly set up. Okay, it's going to take time, I know, because it's technology, and well, we argue. And I'd love to say we don't, I'd love to go, I get along great with technology. I'd have to lie to say it, but I can say it. Now, put those back where they belong. As you can see, I have a tendency of putting things back. Bad habit I got away from a long time ago. That's just the reality of it. But now is the time to start making things change. And the trick there is find a purpose. Now, maybe your purpose is a real small one. Here's a real obvious one for you. When I started the night, okay, when I first turned on the stream, I had a bunch of paperwork on my bed. Okay, short-term purpose. Get that bed cleared so that I can actually go to bed. Not right now, but you get the idea. Okay. Now, if I get tired, I can lay down. I don't have a problem with it. I've set my office up and I'm clearing it out to get rid of all the stuff I no longer require. I've got a number of books I'm getting rid of, that sure, they're wonderful little collections, but the reality is I'm not going through them and I'm not discarding, I'm depositing stuff with other people that may be able to put it to use. Okay, it's just that simple for me because it's a question of send it somewhere. Now, the North American Indians used to have a brilliant idea. Okay, they literally, what they would do is at birthdays and holidays, they would have a potluck and they'd exchange gifts. But if they got a gift they didn't like, they did not return it to the person that gave it to them. They would use it as a gift to somebody else. Okay, this is what I'm doing now. The stuff I've got, if it's still in decent condition, I will pass it on to people that can put it to use. Speaking of which, I will have to make a note of that. But, so we do this. What is the name of that one? There it is. Okay, I know how to get rid of that. Let us see here. Now, I don't know who all is still in the room. Okay, but again, if you like the stream, do give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Okay, because this is just going to continue pushing and getting, I'm hoping, getting better. Now, I don't recall if it was Shadow and Sun or if it was World Bigfoot. Okay, I don't recall which one of you it was that asked for this funny little book. Here, I should have brought it when I grabbed it. One of you two asked for this, The Teachings of Buddha. This particular version is copyright 1966. One of you said that you liked it, and I forgot which one. You know, the reality of it is, I know one of you two asked for it already. If you're still in the room, let me know. Okay, this book has to leave my like it's going to be leaving, but I'm holding on to it until I figure out where it was going. I appreciate that there, Black Dragon. Yeah, or my apologies, Lord Rebeljack. I do try and treat everybody the same way. Okay, I do not see a point in putting somebody on a pedestal. I actually told one chap, very well known individual, don't recall his name, but I was talking to him and I said, look, I said the last thing I desire is to be put on some sort of a pedestal. And this guy turns around and looks at me and goes, Keith, you can't do anything about other people putting you on a pedestal. But what you can do is avoid seeing yourself as though you're on a pedestal. And you can stop yourself from treating other people as though you're on a pedestal. Okay, I do not see myself as better than anybody. Okay, little more twisted than most. Definitely, I've got a different outlook on life. Because I literally see, and it's actually, we figured it out, myself and a few very educated people, figured out a clinical way of explaining why I can see the positive, the negative, and the neutral all at the same time. Okay. So am I perfect? Absolutely not. Do I have a vocal temper? You bet. It just so happens the people in this room, in this chat room, are absolutely phenomenally encouraging. This is one of the reasons why, as a matter of fact, I can directly attribute the support I got a year ago for why I am still doing this now. Emotions are one of those really funky little things. They do have a certain amount of logic to them. Okay, but what emotions are, in a nutshell, is they are a way to get you to really pay attention to what is bothering you. Okay, or what makes you feel better. It's emotions that tell you if something sits right. Okay, but everybody has an emotional side or an instinctive side and a logic side. You all also have a completely neutral side, but it all gets a little twisted on occasion. Yeah, Nathan, you've been around for I have no way of telling you how long you've been here, but I do know you've been around for a very long time. I have a problem remembering what I did this morning, never mind what I did a year ago. And yet, past lives I can remember like the back of my hand. Okay, I remember the gladiatorial revolt in ancient Rome. I remember the burning of Pompeii and the sweeping waters coming out and removing Manoah. Okay, I remember the exodus from Egypt. Okay, I remember World War I. Not a fun time, by the way. Okay, and I remember my time as a fisherman on the North Atlantic. Yeah, I agree with you there wholeheartedly, Lord Rebeljack. The reality of it is, for me, I don't know how to do anything about it, and frankly, it's what makes me me. Therefore, I'm not looking to change it. Ultimately, yes. The reality of it is there, Ferret, that I don't slow down much. We take a look at it, and just today, get that out of the way so I can actually read. Today, I actually went to bed at when? Oh, forgot to write that down. Oh, no, I did not. Oh, that was it. Okay. Last night, the night of the 5th, I went to bed at 11 o'clock. Okay. I slept until 2 o'clock in the morning. Got up at 2. Okay. Was up until 4 and went back to bed. Then I got up again at 6, meaning a total of 4 hours of sleep between midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been up and on the go pretty much this busy since I got up. Okay. That's the funny part about it there, football. I'm starting to re-access them. I know they're all there. Everything you've done, you can do again. Okay. Have I accessed all of them? Not even close. What I have accessed is enough memories to know that I was not always a decent person. I've got one heck of a volatile background. As a matter of fact, one lifetime before the gladiatorial revolt, I was a member of the Roman Legion. 2 years I spent running around with the same squad. We fought back to back. We had, we ate together, we slept together, and not all in the same bed, but you get the idea. We had each other's, and we partied and we gambled the whole 9 yards. Okay. But on this one occasion, they decided they were going to rape a young girl. Okay. And I told them, this is not right. I'm not going to stand by. My lieutenant turned around and says, that's a direct order. You stand by and make sure we are not disturbed. Okay. You don't have to participate, but you're not to let anybody else disturb us. I made sure they weren't disturbed. My 5 closest friends at that point, well, 6, my closest friends, I ended up turning on in order to stop the young lass from being raped. I killed all of them and spent the next decade dragging her around with me, and killing literally any Roman soldier available. Okay. And it took the young lass a decade to convince me that I didn't have to kill everybody in uniform. Like I said, I was not a nice chap. Okay. By the way, Black Dragon, you are right. Some people call it instinct or cellular memory. Okay. Turns out, I've never been taught to use any weapon in today's world. Okay. And yet it turns out that some of the maneuvers I know where it comes to swordsmanship are master level. Okay. Now, I was never trained. I was told literally I'm not allowed to be trained. Okay. But, like I said right at the beginning, it is imperative you find a purpose in your life. Maybe that purpose is something as simple as clear your bed off of whatever's on it. That might be the whole purpose. I have no idea, Nathan. I have no idea at all. I don't even know how you would go about finding it. On the other hand, be my guest. If you want to search, I can't tell you my name. Okay. I can tell you it would have been, well, let's see. My first lifetime as a Roman person, as a member of Rome, I was a peasant. The second one, I was a soldier, and was my second time, which probably would be around 100 BC. Okay. I have no idea what records there are. I've never looked for documentation. There are some past lives that I've got that I just am not going to tell people about because they are way too controversial. Okay, and I just let other people find out about them. But that particular one, if you find anything, it'd be fascinating to know. Joe, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't doubt that at all. I mean, you may well have been here longer than that. I can possibly go back into the original streams and take a look, but I really don't know for certain. But with that in mind, guys, we are over the 2-hour mark, and before my throat starts to seize completely on me, I'm going to say once again, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate the support, because it's the support from you guys that really helps me stay focused, to be frank. And it's literally why I didn't shut this whole thing down a year ago. Okay. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to bring this to a close. And absolutely, if you had a question you didn't get an answer to, for whatever reason, absolutely drop me a line. I will do my best to respond to it. Okay, down below this video, you'll find a whole list of ways to get a hold of me. Until next time, which, by the way, will be Friday. Yeah, because tomorrow is Thursday, so I won't be on. But Friday, we are going to go into, where are we here? Friday, we are going into the paranormal. I will post ahead of time what and where we're starting with that, because I've got all that laid out. Just wondering if I've got it laid out easily. That ain't it. Friday is the paranormal. Okay. Okay. What we are looking at, the topic I've got already set for Friday is the nature of the paranormal. Okay, what it is, how much it encompasses, this sort of thing. Now understand, this is my perspective. Your viewpoints are absolutely encouraged. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to bid you all a farewell. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.